Right. Oh,
Yep.
we good? All right. Would you all please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance? A chair here. You get somebody.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Well, there, thank you. Well, for that, I will call the Wednesday, January 17th, Town of Damariscotta Select Board meeting to order. We are minus one member this evening. Josh Pinkham had a prior engagement. And just for housekeeping, I do have someplace I need to be. We run along, you'll see me skip out the side there and we'll pass it on to Tom. So, yeah, but we'll see how things go
We
anyway.
won't be running long,
Yeah.
trust me.
You can't skip to adjournment, Tom. So we'll see how everything goes here. So we'll get some housekeeping stuff out of the way, and then I'll run this by the board before we get started. We do have a liquor license renewal under official action items, and we do have there'll be a gentleman waiting here. So if it pleases the board, I might move that up after we get the financial stuff done out of the way. That's all right with everybody. So, all right. Or you can wait till the end. There you want to do. Yeah. All right. Let's start with our minutes. January 3rd. Do we have any changes, additions, amendments?
Yeah, once again, we have.
Go ahead,
some-
Tom.
Once again, we have some impersonators. This guy, Tom Andrews, is the third time he's impersonated me.
Oh, man. Okay.
So I don't know, we gotta do something about that. And then
Oh,
we got
yeah.
Mike Hers, I think that's misspelled.
Gotcha. Yeah. Mike and others.
Yeah,
others
and then we
present.
got a
Yeah.
new guy, Josh Pinkhammer. A little further down, Josh Pinkhammer.
Okay. I didn't catch that. Where did you see that, Tom? Yeah.
B.
Oh, right there. Yeah. Oh, just a typo with an extra R on there. So, okay.
So other than that, those are my changes.
Little melon stuff there. Yeah.
HERZ.
HERZ.
Yep. That's an easy one to, all right. No, it's HERZ. Yep, yep, HERZ.
RZ.
RZ. Yeah, RZ. You've got it. So, all right, any other changes or amendments? Okay. You want to take the motion on that, Tom?
I move that we change the minutes to correct the spelling of Tom Anderson from Tom Andrews, Mike Hers to Mike Hers, HERZ, and then Pinkham to Pinkham R to Pinkham without the R.
And that's down on yeah, B there for, okay. All right, how about a second?
Second.
Andrew, seconds. Any other discussion? All those in favor? All right, motion accepted. And let's move on. Everybody get a chance to look at the financials. We have,
Yeah.
sorry.
Executive meeting, I didn't know when that ended, if there was any action or what.
No action. Yeah, we can get the, do you have the time, Andy?
I do.
Yep. There was no action taken, so we adjourned that and adjourned the regular meeting, so. Again, didn't get the, I don't remember the time, but. Just get the stopwatch over there. Yeah.
Linda, there's a couple of mentions of Mike Hers misspelled if you go through the minutes. Yeah, all right.
Great. Yeah, thank you, Linda.
But Tom Anderson was there most of the time.
Yeah, he's there.
Yeah, except in the beginning.
All right, so you're need the time to, Linda. Yeah.
Well, you
Yes.
could just
Okay.
copy and paste it. I mean,
We'll move on. Andy will get you the time on that, Linda, when you find it. So, all right, financial. So, we have two warrants. We have a payroll warrant number 33.
motion to accept payroll.
Second.
Thank you, Andrew. Tom seconds. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor? All right, move 33. And we have accounts payable number 34.
Make a motion to accept payroll. Number 34.
All right, thank you, Andrew. I'll second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay. So we're going to, yeah, also the board, I'm going to skip ahead to, we have a liquor license renewal for the American Legion. Do we have any questions, comments, concerns from everybody? Good, done, moving along? All right,
Good to me.
I'll,
Well, I did have one question.
yeah, go ahead, Dan.
And-
Yeah, what you got?
And this is because maybe I just don't understand these
forms again. But they were applying for,
Liquor license,
well,
no food,
let me see.
right? Liquor license, no
So you
food.
just, yeah, wait, Dave's
What?
looking for his page here. You get your page there. Let me.
Yeah, because no, it's under two.
Page two on the-
They're indicated as a restaurant, but no food. And the restaurants always strike me as food. So it was just a question. When there's,
Oh, of classification.
yeah,
I don't think there's any other option.
well, I don't know.
Hotel, Class
There was something
A,
called a tavern
Class A
or something
lounge.
called a, oh, I did see something else, Class A lounge, whatever that is.
Yeah, I don't know what the differences are, whether or not.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. So, I mean,
Yep.
if that's what it's always been, it's fine, but it just struck me as,
Yeah,
because you look at your receipt.
yeah.
Yeah, you look at your receipts, it's,
It's,
there's no
it's,
food.
About the
There's no food there.
classes.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's some of I know some of the state forms like that we have to do for agricultural license like that are limited, like they give you like three
Hmm.
options, like. All right, that's what we'll be, I guess, so, yeah. Okay,
That's fine.
yeah, all right.
I'm just curious.
I'll,
Know who a tavern is?
I'm not sure how they classify it when they
Well,
they don't give you a
Well, they
definition.
do
so,
actually.
yeah.
They do later on.
They do? Give you the
They do, yeah,
classifications.
Page 9. They go and define different stuff.
Oh, yeah, with the definitions there, type of establishment, so, yeah. Oh, restaurant you are. Oh. I'll make a motion to approve the liquor license renewal for the American Legion.
I'll second it.
Dan's gonna second.
Beer was a form of
discussion?
food
Yeah.
when they first created it.
This is
They
true.
made it with
Yep.
barley and they ate the barley with the alcohol.
That's
So,
right.
That's
Yeah.
how it was-
so that's what you can use when it comes
Perfect
up.
discussion item for, yeah. Exactly. All those in favor? All right. Yeah, you're good. Go back to work. Andy, when do they need to?
Becky probably should be able to have it for tomorrow
Awesome.
by lunchtime.
I guess,
Perfect.
I mean,
Right. Thank you. Yeah.
the
Thank you.
class one is very specific versus just a class.
Well, the different
Yeah.
classifications.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. We'll move it along. Here we have a letter from Spectrum Generations. Everybody get a chance to
Yeah, that was.
take a look at that. Yep.
That's nice.
Yeah, that was nice to see. They do some good work for people. So,
They do.
yep. Good to see. Any other, anything come in last minute, Andy?
No.
Do we have anybody out in the audience? I don't think I see anybody online there, so it's just us. All right, no more correspondence. We'll go through town manager's report. Probably, I'm sure there's a few things in here we're gonna comment on, so yeah. We can skip the first one. I mean, that was boring. Nothing happened there. Holy moly.
But the,
So,
I saw you
The,
walking by. You weren't even,
I mean, it was-
you walked right by, went up right across the bridge.
Well, I was doing my oversight responsibility as a board member.
I didn't get out of my car, so don't feel bad.
So, yeah, Andy put a nice little concise, thing together here for us, but that was a busy week.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I may not, get to Selectmen's discussions at the end here, but, credit goes out to the, fire department, our two-person highway department. One of them is here. As I know, they were, between Wednesday up through Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There was a lot of sandbags moving and whatnot, and the two highway department folks we have were quite busy. But it's good thanks goes out to fire department and the Boy Scouts and Lincoln Academy.
Mhm.
That was an amazing to see everybody get together and volunteer and stuff. So, too bad it's through adversity, when something happens, but it's a nice thing to see.
Yeah, a lot of people shut up.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
A lot of people showed up on
It was-
Saturday.
It was
Yeah,
great.
both times.
Yep.
So,
Do you want to add anything to it, Andy? I wasn't trying to take your thunder away, but.
No, that's great. Yeah, I mean, it was just a matter of not realizing the full extent of what was going to happen Wednesday before it did, and then seeing the same thing pretty much was going to happen Saturday. Then people started asking, so we I had sand or material come in, and yeah, I forget who it was. Casey Stevens from Lincoln Academy had reached out and said, if you need any hands or help, let me know. And they were coordinating some with Lincoln Academy students to come and help. So that was then right after them, when they finished about 4, took some loads down. The Boy Scouts came in and kept going. So it was great to see that all come together. It was unfortunately still not enough for some of those buildings down there, but they were all there with the building owners too, and hoping it would work.
A
Does,
valiant effort.
do
Yep.
you think this helps us at all in understanding how the deployable wall will work?
I mean, what we have,
Sandbags versus what the wall will be.
probably not with regard to the height of the sandbags per se, but what we have is some photographs that show kind of where the water level was at, and so they can use it as benchmarks to look back at the modeling they put together
Yeah.
to understand total water level, or total tide height is what that one chart from NOAA was kind of showing us. And so to understand what our improvements would look like.
Yeah, so
relative
let me
to
ask the
that.
question a different way. So if our project had been completed
Mhm.
and we had these 2 events, what difference would it have made?
Good question. Yeah.
It's a great,
Oh,
yeah, it's a
that's
great
what the-
question, because we're basically working off of, they're working off some modeling. But now we unfortunately have some real world example where you guys took plenty of pictures, and we're gonna share those with the engineers, say, like, this is actually what happened. And it not only was it it was a rise, but it was also a surge. So,
Right.
it's one thing to have the water come up static
Yeah.
and be at a level, but this
We
is
had-
moving.
Yeah, the east-southeast winds.
Yeah.
Were coming directly down or up the river.
Up the river.
But Saturday was a different wind.
It was more easterly than it was.
Yeah.
probably
Yeah,
Saturday,
it was
but-
It was
better than
definitely a different
Wednesday.
wind and we still had trouble.
Yeah,
Mhm.
same effects. But so the question is whether or
Well,
not,
the king
right?
tide,
It's a
yeah.
big, it's a big
Mhm.
question that I think you guys are working on, is when we get out to the engineers, say, all right, this is what actually happened. Can we?
Yeah, I sent them to
we
him on
model this?
Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then just with phone tag and everything else that we were doing, I never actually connected with him on
Yeah,
following up on that. So it's on my list to do with him.
But the RFPs are already is out
Correct.
for this project.
Yep.
So
Right. It does not
Did,
include a certain size wall right now. It's just the construction of the drainage work and parking lot work. So the wall will be we'd asked EDA that we'll just procure that directly,
that'd be
as opposed to having someone else mark it up.
yeah,
in
right.
the middle.
Double
So,
wall, yeah.
we'll still be able to go back with the engineers and look at, is it 3, is it 4, is it 5? What
Mhm.
size should we be looking to get at what price point? So,
Just curious, did they approve it after the event or before the event? EDA
before.
It'll be interested to see what the take is on what they design for the deployable stuff and whether or not, but we'll get
And-
the information to them, and fingers
And will
crossed.
it be important where we put that deployable wall?
Certainly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, certainly was a lot more water than the catch basin that's going in and we could accommodate. I mean, so the barriers have got to work.
Mhm. Yeah, just seeing the total, like the tide without any storm surge. I mean, I think Monday was a good example. It was still about 11 feet, and
Mhm.
that there were, I think, 2 or 3 basins that were kind of backing up, so that with the check valves on those, on the new solution there, that'll, for as long as they're working, that'll
Yeah.
stop the water from backing up at those tide events.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely gonna help. There's definitely some drainage issues in that parking lot. Oh,
Yeah, a lot of conversation and questions on the street there, so it was good.
yeah,
In that regard, at least to try and capture or think about, hear some of that and how we proceed with that information or those questions, I think is a good question for what's next. And I know the waterfront committee had sent an email out asking if they should get back together. I asked Daryl about if we knew what the original intent of that committee was for, and one of the members had replied, and I can't remember how he summarized it, but it sounded like that was a group that started probably 10
it
years
was a long
ago.
time ago. Yeah, it was a long time ago.
And it sounded like it was more, from the perspective of like park improvements, parking issues. It was when the working waterfront I think there was a whole study done back in mid-teens.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
it sounded like it was
2015 or
more leading up to that,
yeah.
but I'm not certain.
Yeah, I think their original purpose, and at this point, that function is probably done for what they needed to meet for, and this is already in the works and everything. So yeah,
With the comp plan going on, the discussions with the comp plan and with our involvement in looking to enroll in the community resiliency partnership with the state. I think that's good, see what the comp plan yields for
Yeah.
some ideas and next steps, and maybe use that as a bring this with us. It's
I
like,
may be rewriting that chapter after this meeting.
I think like I encouraged Michael that he was out taking photos both days. And so just trying to keep those on our server and kind of help show a picture of, what we experienced when, put some notes with it so we know what it was, but be able to look back on it at least.
Just out of curiosity, did you hear about damage in other towns? I know Bristol and South Bristol and New Harbor and all that, but I mean, up and down the coast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
yeah.
was significant damage, yes.
The state
South
said it
and
was the
stuff, yeah.
worst storm they've ever seen,
Yeah.
but I don't know how far it extended up and down the coast.
Whole coast.
Yeah,
Oops.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty bad, yeah.
Perhaps
Um,
problems. I mean, everyone had
mm,
problems.
The links that we had provided on the website, I mean, on the Facebook and stuff, those available on the website, and the state's trying to put information together to see if there's enough, it's,
The deadline is today.
is it today?
Oh, no, it's tomorrow, the 18th.
Oh, to get
Is
into
the
the,
18th tomorrow?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the 18th,
For
they
which-
put the first storm and then 22nd for the second storm.
That's preliminary numbers, I'm guessing.
I don't know.
oh,
but I
okay,
just
I
saw
can
it
see the
today.
dates on them, but
I got
it
an
seems
email
awfully
from-
quick, doesn't it, for accessing
I
damage?
know, I got an email
Yeah.
today that said that.
Okay. But I know that I just put it out there that we provided some links to
Hello.
more information that the state has on that, they can build that information to, no guarantee of anything, but they need the information to build off of that, so. Oh, all right. Well, we can keep moving through here. Any high points you want to hit on, Andy, with,
How's the staff doing? They back?
Yes. Yep. Admin staff
Yep.
is back to, well, Cheryl ended up leaving early today. She wasn't feeling well, but
okay, all right, she can do that, yeah.
we were yesterday.
Yep.
I did send him home a little bit early yesterday. I was just kind of keeping an eye on the snowfall. It was getting a little more intense towards the late afternoon. So it was about 3 o'clock. I just took
Yeah.
the clothes up and
Kicked them out earlier today.
while it's light,
Closed. or-
Yeah.
it was a little greasy. I mean, no, credit to folks out there plowing, but it was just the type of storm that it was, and just a little
It was.
greasy in the beginning.
Wet and slippery. So.
And of course, you got the freezing rain there on the tail end. Just
Yeah, that was a nice insult at the end of it, though.
I think
All right.
give you again. Some of you might get the emails. If you didn't, just put the legislative bulletin in there or update in there. I don't know if Dan. I don't know if we know if the 16th has been rescheduled.
It has until next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
So that will be the 23rd.
Okay, so January 23rd is the rescheduled date for the
Land
future
use.
land use
Future
workshop.
land use
That'll
workshop.
that'll be number 2. The first one now will be on the 20th, which is Saturday.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And it'll be here.
Coming up. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Other than that,
And no, yeah, we've talked about this, but as of right now, we have no hits on the foreman position.
no applications. Have
Where are we advertising that, Andy? Where's that gone out?
online, in the paper.
Paper, yeah.
Did you guys read the
Okay.
Maine Municipal Association's reaction to the housing
Mhm.
things?
I
They
did, yes,
they
yeah.
didn't like it.
You did not like one of them in particular.
Yeah.
so,
All right. And no updates on, Kastner,
No, I think
culvert, whatnot.
I think it was
That's not very good.
Slow moving stuff.
Yeah.
well, I mean, the grant's been awarded to the state. It's just sometimes those just take time to
Right.
administer. So they're waiting for the forget which federal entity it was coming through, but they're waiting for them to give them the contracts and go through
Yeah.
that process.
Slow moving, slow turning wheels.
I just wanted to make sure because the sanitary district's looking to go out to bid if they aren't already this month, I believe, on their water line works. Just wanted to make sure whatever they were doing wasn't going to be duplicative efforts when that got replaced, and they seem fine. Their water line goes actually under the creek bed right now, and so
Okay.
it looks like it'll be out. And they have our plans that are tentative, so it's outside of the footprint of what we're going to put in. It's
Is the
gonna
sanitary district just replacing existing pipe? So they're not extending it at all?
no, it's just going through Church
There.
Street, in this section.
Yeah.
So it's just replacing what's laid there.
Yeah. turning that.
They are planning, I think, going out to bid soon for a water line replacement from the standpipe. in which it sounds like they want to run right now, if you come across from Standpipe down Back Meadow,
Mhm.
there's a place where you come over that causeway kind of there where the beaver dam is. Just past that, heading towards town, there's a fire hydrant that kind of looks out of place
Yeah.
in the woods there. Well, take that line and run diagonal right behind the Y and into, I think it's Hammond Lumber. Is
Mhm.
that right there?
Yeah.
There's an old roadbed. That's where the water kind of like comes in through there, I believe. So they want to just bring it down Back Meadow Road and then tee into Hammond Street. Create just
And then abandon the.
I don't know if it'll be duplicative or if it'll be an abandonment or not, but so that project's so I talked to them about how do they plan on navigating the culvert there that I just mentioned. So their hope is to go clear under it. Best case scenario. So otherwise we'd have to work with them on culvert crossing.
Yeah.
Which is not very deep.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I just wanted to make sure that they were coordinated and not leading to extra work.
It was nice to see him get this, at least get some material on the business one there on the over here in that across from Napa.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
They did that, what, a couple weeks ago, week and a half ago or so.
I did that Friday in between storms.
Oh, it's Friday. It was that so that's right. It's all blended together.
I sent it to him, when did we get all the rain? Tuesday, Wednesday?
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Sent the photo and they will be back in on there Friday.
That's
They-
right.
They
on
had,
Friday.
yeah, it's a lot of other roads that were
Side of the road there?
across from Napa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one in front of it all summer and they got that taken care of this fall, but
Yeah. That
on
one
the other
his
side, one of the
was
guardrail was getting real bad.
Yeah. Well, that was good to see. Oh. All right. Any other questions, comments, and manager's report? We good? All right. Well, we can move on to a couple more official action items. So looks like we may have a donation to consider. Where was that? Right there. Lost my page. What page are we on, Dan?
I don't know if they have a page number.
There we are. Yep. I knew it was on there somewhere. So,
What page was it?
I didn't put page numbers.
it
on
wasn't
this
page
now.
number. It's
Just
after
after
the MMA.
Just
stuff,
before
so-
the liquor license.
Yeah.
application.
Oh, before the liquor.
So,
license. Oh, yeah.
this is
Charitable, right?
yeah, a donation from Bruce and Catherine Guerin charitable fund to the Massasoit Engine Company.
For the fire.
$500. Yep, that's awfully nice of them.
I'm not certain which reserve our fire chief would like that in. There's three
Hmm.
of them. There's equipment, there's building, and there's
He didn't specify where he wants.
vehicle.
Yeah.
Um,
Should we surprise him?
sure.
Put it in somewhere he can't use it, or you wanna?
Nice. Call me Christmas.
So what are the three again? We got the vehicle, equipment, and the building?
Yeah.
They didn't
I have-
specify what it was for.
I know that they pretty well drained the equipment one this year, planned, but
Sure.
they had bought the air packs or bottles.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That balanced down to about $2,000.
You know, if
which
we
again,
put it in
they
the
planned
equipment one, the chief's gonna come back and say, I wanted to go in the other one.
Yeah.
We can always,
reappropriate if we need
Reappropriate,
to.
so.
yeah.
so we'll, yeah. All right, well, that's awfully nice. These are nice folks.
Doesn't make a huge dent in the
Fire truck.
in the ladder replacement that they
Yeah,
did
no,
a few
no,
years.
it's not going, so. I'll make a motion to accept $500 donation from the Bruce and Catherine Guerin Charitable Fund to the Massasoit Engine Company to the equipment reserve,
Fire equipment.
fire equipment reserve. Do I hear a second? Second. Did Andrew say, everybody seconded on that one. Who'd you hear first one? Anybody?
Andrea.
Tom, okay, Tom gets it. Yeah. All right, any discussion? All those in favor? All right, that's very nice of them. And all right, we have a draft, the Community Resilience Partnership Resolution.
Those first two pages are some of the things you saw at the last meeting.
Yep.
On the back side of that second page
Yeah,
are the
what?
things that were
Right.
on there that I had proposed striking
Strike
off.
it out,
Why
yeah.
did we strike them?
So the list that we had before was examples of things that people have put in the resolve or
Yeah.
things you might want to put in the resolve.
Okay.
As I had gone through it, on Sunday, wanting to get this out, I just proposed, what I put in there for the draft. So certainly can add those things, any of those back in if you want. That some of them seem a little duplicative to me, perhaps.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you wanted
yeah.
to focus specifically on Damariscotta's concerns,
Yeah.
or if you wanted to add the general state concern to your resolve for what the town's
I
preparing to.
I like what you
I
did.
like the,
I was
I
trying to
like
find
the,
out who to give credit to because I thought you
Yep.
did a good job.
no.
Michael
I-
had started it with the staff over there, and then I did call it down on Sunday when I wanted to get the board packet out to you.
Gotcha,
So,
gotcha. No, I'm happy. I like how it reads as is with the draft. Yeah.
Let me just ask two
So-
questions. What is here is enough to satisfy the partnership
as far as I understand, yeah.
requirement.
Definitely.
Yeah, the
Do we
only,
need any other parts of
The-
this, Michael?
well, the other
Yep.
parts here that were strucken.
Sure, I know.
One, two, it just seems timely. The fourth one, seasonal temperature and precipitation patterns are threatening local natural ecosystems, and that sort of feels like what happened.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I think it's.
You have it in, it's concise in addressing climate change, present economic growth, opportunities for the town.
It's more general, but
Yeah, energy efficiency, weatherization. I think he covers it in the,
Yeah, I know it's fine.
yeah, same thing there. So let's,
But it was
Yeah,
just
a
a
little
more
cleaner.
targeted and seemed more in point to our experience here.
Mhm.
But it's fine the way it is, but
I mean, the only reason for that I did that was just it put it more local, so
Yeah.
if that's something that truly that
Also,
is really resonating with the board and why we want to do it, by all means, slide it back over.
yeah, that's the resolve. Yeah, so as
Yeah,
the whereas,
well,
yeah.
I mean, I'm happy.
Yeah,
I
no,
think
it's fine the way it is.
concise. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
But
I was just gonna say, I think it's the first already at the top that the program requires, and then
require.
everything else in there, you could strike them all and they'd still.
Yeah.
okay.
And that's what they said that last meeting
Yeah.
they were at. It was more
Right,
or
okay.
less what you wanted to.
Oh, since
put
you're
in there,
sitting there, so is this the last box we need to check?
Yeah, essentially, there's one other, a checklist of projects that are completed, in progress, and I guess kind of aspired to. None of it's binding, that we just want to check over and make sure it's correct. But yes, this is the last
Okay.
hurdle besides submission. So.
And so just when you said the first three, just kind of flipped some of these, and so I put all the whereases, and then the be it resolved and the further resolved were part of the first three when you got it last time.
Okay.
But it didn't make sense to me to resolve and then continue with the whereases, so I
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
But it's that first whereas and then those two resolves that were the first three that were on. the
Gotcha.
list one.
Okay.
It's showing that, the first whereas where we had committed to the public process there, had the meeting, and then identifying who's going to be the lead, which in this case designated Michael, town planner for coordinating, planning, implementation, and monitoring.
Mhm.
Some places do committees, some identify a different staff member, some it's just the select board. That's what it was proposed, and Michael's okay with that, and.
Yeah.
We
So
can-
does he know he's okay with it?
That was it, I didn't
We discussed. I think
Was in
having
there.
one person is
put that, but.
more.
I mean, I'm okay with it.
efficient.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, that's why I think they did it all in it right now. They're doing it. And they've got a committee of at least half a dozen people in it, which it sounds like it's working, but yeah, if something comes up.
Let's start small.
Yeah,
Let's
I
start
think
with
that's
the planning office, and then if it needs to grow, we can
right.
grow it. So that's, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I think
I'm
the
fine
places
with
that don't have like dedicated staff, I mean, we'll go that route.
Makes
uh,
sense.
Right out of the gate. And so where we do have staff, and let's try, that doesn't mean you're not going to involve community input or a committee down the road, but at least in terms of, because I think it's every 2 years, I think they were telling us today that we have to just refresh and
Yeah.
see how we've done on the first, where we put the first application in, where are we continuing to work on, what's been completed. So that responsibility is what we're saying would fall on Michael with the planner's position. So that just helps put that, state knows who's going to be doing that. And then the other one that was a given for the resolve, just again, that our commitment to participating. And then as Tom was talking about, in reducing greenhouse gas emissions, increasing resilience to extreme weather and climate change impacts.
I'll make a motion to approve the Community Resilience Partnership Resolution Draft.
All right, thank you, Tom.
I'll second that.
Dan seconds. Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor? All right, 2, 3, 4. Good. Thank you guys for
And
that.
get a clean
Congrats.
copy of that and just track down your signature tomorrow. So as far as timelines go, there is a infrastructure adaptation grant fund available for communities that are enrolled.
Okay.
That's due February 2nd.
Oh, it's no
Um,
time. Funny, yeah.
So we can get the application to the state fine. It's just whether or not there's a implementation project where that's like ready to go.
Right.
There's money for actual construction, and then separately there's money in that program for just planning work. Did throw the possibility of looking at talking to the sanitary district to see what the plans are potentially in Keene Woods area. There's some talk about maybe running water line out there.
Okay.
Water sewer infrastructure is something that could qualify. We have some drainage issues over in that development there that we
Rough
need to
over there.
address.
Yeah.
So that one I think is, potential if depending on their timeline to do water work, if we wanted to piggyback on that and try and get some additional grant funds towards that effort. That's
All
what I threw out as a possibility. But I just need to talk with them and see what their
Starting to have the
what it looks
conversation
like for
and,
them.
yeah.
But otherwise, the other ones that we've heard about before, what's the other grant program that
The community action?
community action grant program. So that's due in March or April.
No,
March.
the meeting like that, yeah, I think it's end of March.
End of March. So we'll come back to the board. Met with our the two folks that are helping us with this, Laura and Ashley, today just before this. And so kind of had a short list of items that we were looking at for possible projects for this first grant.
Okay.
One of the ones that seemed like a good entry level project was maybe some building upgrades, possibly lighting upgrades, which we've heard about for a few years now from budget committee members, converting to LEDs potentially.
Yeah.
Also potentially some insulation work at the fire station. Is that something that they had targeted as well?
We've got some aging buildings that need to be, they can do some work. So
We thought that would be an easy one. It was a priority kind of listed as part of the group public process. And so that's one project. And there was a couple others that we looked at like around stormwater mapping and understanding like what our current stormwater system can handle in terms of new development and how much more impervious surface could go down through a single like culvert system that we have before it's overburdened. So it would help planning board, improving projects to talk about, well, we know we need to create more retention ponds on this property, or you need to divert the water to a different drain source,
Yeah.
or we need to upgrade our, some of our drainage infrastructure. So that was one of the other ones that we talked about, but probably
Okay.
more of a future application
it's
request.
some stuff that will fit in those
Yeah.
categories. So
Mhm.
sounds good. So Michael, you might as well stay right up here. You're gonna come up for the next. So don't run off yet, right?
Is this TIF? Is
All
that
right, yeah,
next?
yeah, we can
Okay.
move right along here and we've got the TIF districts ordinance, well, not ordinance, but amendment. A lot of red notes on there, so. All right, how familiar is everybody with, do we want to do a quick little
Maybe Michael could just
briefing on it? Yeah,
brief us on his thoughts in terms of the
Yep.
changes to it.
Sounds
because
good to me.
Were fairly significant.
Yeah.
It seems.
Yeah, yeah,
You're tripling,
Oh.
going from 33 acres to 100, for example. and-
No,
yeah,
the
oh,
way.
yeah.
Yep.
No, it's, yeah, right. I think
And,
'cause right
yeah.
now it's just
It's just
what I'm calling like Camden Bank Plaza
Right.
and what's off of is the Napa on the
It's right here.
Rice Lane. Yeah.
Yeah,
So what is, there's a lot of undeveloped land or kind of just started. And then I guess the original conversation around expanding it was because of what was going to be the Clipper Ship development and the Ledgewood Court 2 or expansion, whatever they want to call it. So as of right now, the Clipper Ship has said they're not moving forward. They like what I explained to the planning board, they've still got their approvals and everything. They may do nothing, but it's
Mhm.
there. And that land has been identified and it's gotten a lot of eyeballs on it from them to see what they could do and all that. So it's certainly has development potential. Ledgewood, actually, I just got call from the developer there, and so I'm going to be talking to them, I think, on Friday. But as far as I know, they're still looking to move forward. They're going for low-income housing tax credits, I think, from the state. So, but
Okay.
either way, they're probably moving forward. So the thinking was when we first started addressing this was this new development coming in there. If we can capture that in TIF, that would, capture some additional funds for the town. I think those two are the only ones that are kind of right around there. The others kind of on the south side that were along Main Street that go towards School Street
Mhm.
was kind of a infill. My thinking on TIF is, especially like right now, we don't have a specific project identified outside of what I just mentioned, was, we need housing, we need plenty of things, and to just kind of make clean lines around property. It doesn't take any rights away from the property owner. It doesn't really, all it can do is kind of expand possibilities. So I figure, if a developer comes along and says, oh, yeah, I want to buy the piece of property that's right here and put some housing in there, the town has options. It would be great if we had a comprehensive plan that was, done, said like, here's the vision, and we would be able to kind of steer in that direction. But as of right now, we're kind of feeling our way through a little bit. So it's kind of the same thing north where Hannaford's is and the corner there. There's been a little, some conversation about, from property owners there about doing some development. It's basically just, what could we do there? So again, it's kind of like, if there's development that happens along that stretch where that whole stretch has, the infrastructure, water, sewer. So, seems like it would be a suitable spot for development
Yeah.
of some kind. So basically it was, right now we wanted to just get it there so that way we can lock in whatever the original assessed value is going to be. And then if development comes along, that assessed value is going to creep up, and we've kind of already laid the groundwork. That's at least the changes in the footprint there. As far as, I think the other major changes would be the list of projects, which I think we expanded the side, like where sidewalks and connections paths were already part of, included in this, and we were basically just going to expand it largely to connect the Clipper Ship area and Piper Mills Road to, I think it was to get to the hospital, because that seems like it would be a good connection, sidewalk connections. Yeah. And then also just to downtown, which is basically the same kind of route along, I think, High Street, and then also up to Main, directly up School Street to Main Street. So that's in there. I don't think we changed any details about like what, it included like street furniture, I think, like lights and curbs and maybe landscaping and things associated with sidewalks.
Like the bike lanes out though.
I
Because the better
in that one-
wording is,
oh yeah, did I put multimodal?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, you just changed. Okay.
that's, at first I wasn't sure if when we were talking, it was, I think it was a language thing.
probably
Yeah.
for grant money and those things for DOT.
Yeah, and because of the multimodal, I don't know if that's what you're calling it, along from,
So the state's referring to a multimodal bi-lane.
okay.
Yeah.
Love making up terms.
From
don't they?
Biskie Road up to GSB.
Yeah, Hannaford's
From
property
Hannaford, okay.
line up to the school.
Right.
So I just went with that because I didn't.
Okay.
So it's the new term for, yeah.
Yeah.
Multi-use path is
Right.
yeah.
Mhm.
So
So, yep.
yeah. So but I mean, bike lanes could, still be part of that. And then I know we added in, I think we wanted to update the fire truck, mostly just for a budget, because we had to, the price of the fire truck, we wanted to make sure we could cover it if that was, and then I'm just going from memory because I don't have it in front of me, but as long as I hit everything, I'm actually, okay. Then I don't. There's we put I think I called it a housing investment fund in there.
Yeah, you want to talk about that?
That was
I have one of those right now.
right, right. No, we don't. So
We had talked about it in terms of the comp plan of
Mhm.
potentially having
yeah.
some sort of housing.
And in the draft that I think that Isabel had worked on before I got here, it was, I think it was referred to as like a housing trust fund. But I just wanted to, I don't think it's, when I think of a trust fund, I guess I think of something a little bit different, but it was basically just kind of going to be a fund that the town that was going to, well, that we could put that money into, that if the town wanted to assist developers in or upgrade existing housing to be for affordable, I mean, it could be for affordable housing, I think is, not sure if I limited just affordable housing in there. Basically, because right now, if the town wants to, project, if a developer comes and says, yeah, I want to build 12-unit building and I want to make it all affordable, but the numbers just don't work, and the town decides we want housing, which a lot of the conversations I've been in, that's been going that way. Having that would allow the town to,
Sweeten the pot.
it's one more option to say, okay,
Yeah.
well, or, it also could be, I think we could use it to even just like purchase a piece of property that then was developed into housing. And so it's just another avenue. There's other
Yeah,
ways to
you
do
could
it,
that.
but
You did limit it to the affordable housing.
I did limit it to affordable. Okay. I think that's, I mean,
So I was
reasonable.
reading through this.
It's not a bad thing.
Right.
Yeah. Are you envisioning a bond like right up front to do some of this stuff?
No, there was a bond originally contemplated in
Yeah.
the original, which I want to say fortunately was never taken out because the development didn't materialize,
Well, I
but
think it was the ability to leverage the TIF fund and get
Mhm.
a loan against it. So for future revenues. And so the current annual revenue is about $12,000. And so for a 20-year program, I wouldn't recommend that we loan anything against the bond because there's not
Yeah.
enough revenue guarantee.
wasn't
at the
planning on a
moment.
bond.
So it was the ability to loan
Not this one.
against the TIF.
Yeah, yeah.
And they put a dollar value on like up to million, I think.
yeah. And my assumption was that if it was all built out the way they imagined, it was just so they could kind of take get all the cash up front so they could really do a big project.
Yeah.
And then they know that unless that, for some reason, that development got torn down, they've got that money coming. So
The other one you added was and this was something that changed in last year's legislature, the improvements for municipal building.
Yeah.
The legislature added that. They put a cap on how much revenue from your TIF program could go towards your municipal building improvement, but figure with all the work we've got to do on this property, it was worth adding.
Just added in, yeah.
Between earthwork and drainage improvements and building needs, figured it was worth having there.
Yeah.
So we put tentatively a value of up to $350,000 of revenue to go towards that.
I do, just a question about the scope's expanded in terms of what the TIF can be covered. Before it was just basically for commercial purposes,
like,
retail, restaurants, office center.
oh, well, yeah,
Now
right.
you've expanded it to include housing and
Yeah.
juice. So I guess my question around that would be, is that appropriate?
Yes, as far as like, is that an appropriate use for a TIF or this TIF?
Yeah, or even, yeah, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, there's multiple flavors of TIFs, I guess you could say. This is kind of I don't think this one has a particular identity, but there's like downtown TIFs, there's affordable housing TIFs.
Yeah.
So yeah, housing.
Yeah, let me come at it a different way, because I'm hugely in support of mixed use developments and housing with businesses together. But is there anything that couldn't go into a TIF? This come at from a different direction.
Well, I guess it'd be good to understand, like, there's different reasons your town might want to create a TIF. If you've got a lot of opportunity, maybe you go into it knowing a development's happening and it's going to create a lot of jobs. And so you're going to create a TIF to try and incentivize that particular project. Others do it more generally, which is sound like we had done a few years ago as a town.
Yeah.
What happens and what can be built inside of the TIF really is more about a land use allowance than it is your TIF program. The TIF program, I think maybe by adding the housing kind of gives you one of the other changes. Maybe this is better. One of the other changes goes to whether you want to allow for credit enhancement agreements. The current program does not allow us to even consider credit enhancement agreements. And that's usually where there's kind of maybe can be challenges or concerns about, the investment or some money, enhancement agreement going back to a developer or property owner.
Mhm.
And that's by allowing the language and allowing that to happen in your TIF program isn't a guarantee of anything. It's still the credit enhancement agreement still needs to be approved by the town and the state before it's in effect. But it creates an additional tool for us, as a town to work with someone that wants to invest. And so maybe like with the interest in housing, if that's truly by the comp plan, a big challenge for us, when someone wants to come in, you could at least entertain the possibility of a credit enhancement agreement to incentivize certain types of development in your TIF, maybe over others. We value this type of development, maybe not this one. So we're willing to, I think working through that would be helpful to, see what's possible. But
Yeah.
Is everything that we've identified here in the growth area, the current growth area under the comp plan?
I believe it's all in C2, I think, which I believe the entire
I didn't
C2
know if some of the
was.
stuff off Heater Road and that way was in the rural area, but
I believe the currently active, the one that's not being, that we're in the middle of working on.
yeah,
The 2014 one. I believe that all of that wasn't, the growth area was pretty, they were pretty generous.
Okay.
I think they put like what is C1 and our, the historic downtown is like a limited growth. And then there's like a non-growth areas, which, but I believe all of that is in the growth area. I guess I shouldn't, guess as to what will or won't be in the growth area in the coming comp plan. You all probably, especially the two of you, but, so I believe
yeah,
all of
and
it
It seems
is.
likely it would be.
Yeah, the stuff off
I didn't
Piper
know if
Mills
there was some
might.
TIF rules that says you can't have a TIF in a rural area. Because I know there seems to be some
No, the
limitations around those sorts
yeah.
of things.
growth areas are getting a little bit more focused recently because of LD 2003. Before that, they were really more guiding, and they were not like actually limiting in any way. They weren't actually kind of, I don't want to say they weren't legal, but like they were just in the comp plan. They were kind of aspirational or a vision and not really regulatory.
Mhm.
But I also will say that as far as like what kind of development, I think there's three questions about like housing in a TIF. One is, can you include like housing areas when you're designating a TIF district? And I think the three things that you kind of what you identify to identify a TIF district is like commercial development, like areas that are commercial in nature, areas that are blighted, which is broad and could include housing or not. And then there's also areas that are I think like if you like an arts district or something like that. So so if it was just like a residential area, you might have a harder time, especially like a perfectly healthy, not necessarily in need of anything significant residential area. You might have a hard time getting that approved as a TIF. But this area, for example, is like largely commercial. So I don't think there's an issue identifying as a TIF. And then as far as what kind of development is allowed within a TIF, any development. I mean, if someone comes along and says, I don't want to build commercial there, I want to build housing, the TIF doesn't care.
Okay.
And then what kind of stuff you can spend the money on is kind of a separate thing. And that's where there's like three categories, but that's what this list obviously we're discussing is.
Yeah.
And there's guardrails there, which we can discuss if you're curious, but
this is mostly just to get a pulse from the board about, is this a project that amendment process that started really about a year ago?
Yeah.
And just hit some pauses along the way. So just wanted to get it back to the board just to check in, make sure we're on the right track. If there's concerns or big questions, let's, just identify them so we can work through or address. 'Cause it has to go to a public vote.
They go through the process.
State has to approve it, the amendment. And all of this is in the hopes of getting it approved by the state by April 1st, which is the next tax year.
All right.
So should there be any property changes that would impact the new
Yeah.
values, it'd be nice to capture this year's taxable value. If there's something built next year, like the Camden Bank partially was built before this was approved. The current one we have is approved. So only some of the new development on the Camden Bank is captured in the TIF, not all of it.
Not all, yeah.
It's like an $800,000, I think, original assessed value.
Sounds right.
And so the additional value that was captured was
Yeah.
not much.
Yeah. I think it's like 1.5
Timing.
million right now, but it's not, it's not,
Okay.
I think it was supposed to be 3 or almost 4 million when if it was all built out the way it was envisioned.
Yeah.
But yeah, the timeline that Andy was talking about, I think the rule is that if we get it approved by the voters, and approved by the state by March 31st, then we can use the assessed values from April 1st of, the current tax year we're in, as of, if it gets approved by the state or voted on April 1st or later, then we have to use this coming April 1st. So that's the timeline there. There hasn't been a huge amount of development, but it's like, if we can do that, then I think it would
Never
benefit
know,
the
yeah.
town. So
And how
time
do
it
we
right.
do
Yeah.
that
Oh.
to make it happen before April 1st?
Well, the next steps for us is just to hear any concerns you might have or questions and continue to on this track that we have or modify it. But one of the big next steps too is to get our attorney or someone involved to help us do the projections and make sure the numbers in there are accurate. For the assessors need to certify some values. And so work through that process, make sure from a legal perspective, we're looking good on the application. And so with my thought when talking with Michael today was to try and get this back to the board with those things done first meeting-ish in March. And then that second meeting in March, you could have a public, special town meeting to consider it.
Yep.
That's also assuming that 2-week turnaround time is okay with the state. I don't know if we know what that requirement is. We'd have to just kind of see.
Yeah.
If that 2 weeks would be reasonable for them.
I believe the communication I had with them was like, if you can send us stuff ahead of time, so they'll make sure that like what we're proposing for the TIF is okay.
You look at your drafts. Work with you. Yeah.
Because they also need like the meeting minutes and things like that to make sure that we went through the appropriate
Yeah,
process
sure.
of getting it approved by, the town vote and all of that. So.
So our
Yeah.
attorneys, participated or completed this thing, right?
Previously, yes.
Previously?
Not on the on amendments
this
yet.
one?
Michael's
Oh,
not on
maybe.
draft.
Yeah, okay.
Figured we could
I'd
start
say we
with it.
keep plugging away. I mean, we've talked about this, a year or so
Mhm.
ago, about expanding, revisiting the ordinance and the TIF district and looks good to me so far.
Yeah, and the area is expanding
Yeah.
quite a bit, and the original assessed value is expanding quite a bit, but the state has caps about like 2% of, it can't be larger than 2% of the town, and we're not coming, I don't think, anywhere near that. I don't think we're even getting to like 1%. So
1.06.
well, okay, and that's half of what the max for one TIF district is, and we could go up to 5. And then there's also like downtown TIFs or transportation oriented district TIFs don't count towards the max. So I think we're pretty well under the ceilings, but I just wanted to mention that. So.
Oh, no, sounds good, Michael. Thank you.
Yeah.
We, as a board feel,
We need to move ahead.
keep moving with it
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
keep the process going, keep the ball rolling, I guess.
Yeah.
a
Do
little
we
bit.
need to vote on that, or we're just saying do it?
It's just, I think it's just a head nod at this
Do it.
point. Yeah, they're already in the process, so it's just
Keep moving.
yeah.
Yeah.
We get most
Definitely.
questions answered and whatnot, and
Mhm.
that's an area that we've been looking at expanding that TIF to anyway, so keep poking away. You keep you busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Anything else for Michael while he's here?
I don't know.
Let's see.
Yeah, you had asked.
Oh, yeah.
For some guidance from the board on the historic preservation review board. There's a vacancy.
Oh, yeah.
Susan Murphy, she had sold her building, and so she's gonna get off the board there.
Yep.
But I think Michael was
Step down.
curious about the board, if they had any particular, I don't know if it was skill sets or if in searching for another person to fill out the board, is there anything in particular?
3. Trying to remember now.
There's 5 members.
5. Okay.
and met three. We've met once, twice actually. Yeah, it's getting going again. We've got a meeting
Yeah.
February. We're going to meet quarterly. We got those scheduled. It's going. I've met, I think, three of the board members or commission members. Susan just stepped down. One just didn't make it last time because of, I think, weather. So like I said, Susan just stepped down. She did suggest we reach out to the new owners. Not sure if they're interested. Haven't talked to them. I figured I would come to the board first and just see if, if you have thoughts, happy to reach out to the new owners or anybody else.
Is
you
it
identify.
desirable for the people to live in the historic district or have a business in it?
So actually Susan lived in Newcastle.
She was Newcastle, yeah.
Yeah.
We allowed
Mhm.
we wanted a business owner, we allowed a business owner
Okay.
as opposed to a resident. So it was kind of, if I remember right, we put that board together. It was a mix because, we wanted to allow a business owner, not just a resident. So it was a little bit of a, resident of the area, business owner, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So there was a couple of Church Street residents I'm thinking of. Maybe I'll run it by them and by you or something.
Yeah. Okay.
I haven't asked them yet, but maybe they.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I won't say anything on record yet.
Okay.
But
That's,
there's a
yeah,
couple
right.
folks
That's,
that are on the Church Street area, Elm Street area that they might be interested.
Yeah. That's, I think that the ordinance allows for, I don't know if it's only one, but it does allow for non-Damariscotta residents that are property owners in the historic district to be there. And I'll have to check and see what other restrictions.
I didn't look at it.
I don't think it limits it to only people who live in the historic district because that's fairly small. So,
Yeah, I think
what is the historic district?
What do they do?
What does the commission do?
Yeah, do they have any power, real power?
Yeah, there's there's a ordinance, land use ordinance, like anything else. I mean, it regulates the outside of buildings in the historic district.
And my only reference point is like Portland landmarks where
Mhm.
they can stop development if somebody wants to do something in the historic district.
I don't know if they can stop.
Because if it's considered
Development.
historic, then
Right.
I mean, they have to make approvals on some of the projects that are looking to proceed. I mean, mostly we've
Yeah.
dealt with renovations.
Yeah.
right? I mean, everything
Yeah.
in there's pretty, I mean, it's not a
It's
huge footprint
it's
of
similar
community.
to where like the planning board would sit and look at, read the ordinance
does it
and
reflect the
yeah,
historic character of the area,
Yeah.
that kind of thing?
they just focus on on that one ordinance with the storm ordinance. to
Yeah.
make Sure. And I don't
And
really
if they
know.
don't
if
think
there's-
it does, then they can stop it.
We're right, as to, within the, they have
Yeah.
just like anything, they have the ordinance to go through, and if it fits in the ordinance, yeah.
Right.
There's some, there's some teeth
Okay.
in that,
Mhm.
but I
Yeah.
don't know, I mean, when is the last time, has there been anything come up in recent history that they've had to meet on to?
Nothing that they've had, not at least while I've been
I
here.
think it's been a while, I don't
Yeah.
think. it's
There
been
was
anything-
one or two projects that came before, but it's actually written that for minor things, it's a fairly flexible document. It doesn't sound like it's nearly as burdensome as Portland.
Mhm.
But
No.
I know
Took
at
some
least,
teeth out of it.
yeah, one of them was like someone wanted to replace the windows in their building, and as long as it's the same design, like I was able to approve it. It allows the town planner to do that. So, but there's also there's a element in there about education and public outreach, which I think is admirable. How enforceable that is maybe a question, but at least the review part of it is it's there, and if something comes up significant, that's why I wanted to start getting them together, because you can imagine a board that doesn't meet regularly would
Right.
be really hard to corral. So
Mhm.
Yeah,
But-
yeah, well.
it seems like a good group. So yeah, if there's anybody who you want to
I'll
appoint,
put some feelers out, so,
Yeah.
yeah, a couple of people, but I'll run it by Andy and let you know, and if anybody else has any suggestions, from there, so. All right, awesome.
Okay.
We'll keep giving you work to do, so.
yeah.
Yeah. Michael,
stuff,
thank you
though.
for
All
coming
good
in.
stuff.
Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Michael.
yeah, all good stuff. Yeah. When why we're talking about vacancies and positions and whatnot, I'll throw this out there again that I think we're still looking for a public health officer, which I currently I'm currently in there, not qualified to be.
My neighbor.
if we have somebody that, maybe has something to do with the medical field, that would be great. They want to step forward. I'm from the school of rub some dirt in it, and that's probably not gonna,
Let me, I have an idea.
so,
I have an idea
Yep.
for you.
yeah.
Right.
Basically, I'm covering my butt, so in case something happens, I'm like, you're the medical officer. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not
Is
qualified.
there a description?
There's
There's a lot.
nice manual that comes along with it.
It's a lot.
Oh,
So
so you need
yeah,
somebody with a medical
the stuff
background.
all falls on the chair if there's something that's vacant. So,
The chair has fallen on you.
yeah, so just throw that out there again. So, yeah, if you have somebody that might be interested,
I don't know if they will, but
well,
he's a doctor who just retired, so.
It's
perfect. That's what
That's what we
we
need.
did.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay.
Its relevance and importance kind of was rekindled with COVID, generally. Those kind
Yeah.
of came back to light, and otherwise,
And we had somebody then, so.
otherwise, sometimes you might see your public health officer if you've got concerns about, unsafe housing conditions or, questions about, that's really kind of the more common one I've seen before, but just unsafe, unhealthy type public nuisances.
Is that why you were wearing that white coat when?
That's why, yes, yes.
Checking the water quality and all that, and see if it's.
What we're trying to avoid is when they, somebody comes in looking for the health officer, they don't say, go down to the gas station and go see Daryl. So,
That's what
oh,
we do now.
but, yes, yeah, they do. So, well, we'll throw that out there. So there's some, if anybody wants to step up and volunteer, there's a few things they can do for their town. So shame them into it.
Turn over the
Alright.
stethoscope, okay?
Exactly. Great. Anything, before we move on, anything we good again? Anything you want to sneak in at the end? Lose my voice here again. So, we can,
Wow.
yeah, it keeps going back and forth here. So, we can start. Tom, do you have anything to add this evening?
No, not tonight.
Nothing good.
I've said enough.
Yep, and Josh isn't here, so we'll speed it up.
Yeah, speed it up.
Yeah, he'll save it up for next meeting. So, yeah, Dan, you're next to me. You're on that side of me. Anything, Dan? Yep.
Since the two of you guys, are here, any color from your conversation with the hospital about why they abandoned the,
That was scheduled for
Project.
last Wednesday.
yeah, because it said.
At
in the next 2
9.
Weeks, it was.
So last Wednesday was
Ah,
a little
got it.
wet in
Yeah.
underwater, so we didn't end up having the meeting last week.
Okay.
So I have
Scheduled and, yeah.
not rescheduled it yet.
I'm just curious.
alright, yeah.
'Cause it was a big deal.
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. It was the same. Yeah, I was kind of interested in seeing how that impacts us and whatnot. So, yeah, Andrea.
Oh, I just want to thank everyone that came out to help. I mean, everyone was
Yeah.
amazing. The fire department especially. It was quite an undertaking to get the town through that. So
Yeah.
I know, Andy, it was difficult, but good job
Thanks.
for everyone
Well-
that helped. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a lot of good volunteers and it was nice to see the community pulling together.
Well said. I won't add any to that. So, yeah, be quiet. I've got nothing else to add to it. We do have, yeah, a couple things to sign here. Well, with that, there's nothing else to add this evening. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Tom's gonna take it.
Second.
Second, Andrea seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor? All right, skip the discussion part, 4 of us. Okay, we are adjourned.